5 months after that tragic day at Robb Elementary, a well-known Austin doctor has started efforts to bring the still grieving community and victims' families answers. Here's senior reporter Tony Plahetsky with this KVUE Defenders exclusive.
By now, we have seen it with our own eyes.
The room is full of victims.
And heard it for ourselves.
There's victims in the room with him. A child on the phone, multiple victims.
How police in Uvalde acted on the call of an active shooter went against how officers have trained since Columbine.
There's compelling evidence that the law enforcement response to the attack at Robb Elementary was an abject failure.
And against an underpinning of emergency medicine to get to a patient as fast as possible. Months after the shooting, the difference those minutes could have made while police stood in the hallway weighs on Uvalde County Justice of the Peace Lalo Diaz every day.
Yes, it's a question that comes up, I believe, on all of our minds.
Diaz helped identify each of the 19 children and 2 teachers after the shooting.
I feel that maybe there could have been a couple of more lives saved, you know, and in this instance, if one more could have been saved, that would have been enough.
Diaz tells the KVUE Defenders that after federal agents finally breached the classroom, 4 victims, 3 children, and teacher Eva Morales were taken to an ambulance because they were breathing and had a pulse.
They were still fighting for life.
2 of those children died at Uvalde Memorial Hospital, and the 3rd died in an ambulance in nearby Hondo on the way to a trauma center in San Antonio. And Morales, who called her husband from the classroom to say she had been shot, died in an ambulance that never left the Robb Elementary campus.
Ruben, she said she shot Johnny.
To help answer one of the most haunting questions of that day, the Texas Rangers have formally asked a familiar Austin physician to study the chances any of the victims could have survived with faster care.
This is the question that we're trying to get to. If things have been optimal, was there an opportunity? Unfortunately, victims of trauma in some circumstances, regardless of what resources are there, cannot be saved.
Dr. Mark Escott, medical director of Austin-Travis County Emergency Medical Services, is creating a panel of 5 national experts who will review autopsy results, medical and hospital records, and photographs to help determine whether any victims had what doctors call potentially survivable wounds. Escott says he wants to help bring answers to the Uvalde community and families who lost loved ones May 24th.
We have to move beyond the tragedy. We have to identify what went right, what didn't, and ultimately learn lessons so that next time we can do better.
The KVUE Defenders have learned that the study will also be used to help investigators and prosecutors determine whether any officers should face criminal charges. The proliferation of mass shootings has prompted similar studies across the nation. Dr. Reed Smith, Operational Medical Director for the Arlington County Fire and Police Departments outside Washington, has reviewed the Las Vegas concert shooting and others over the past decade. Most recently, his review of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando found 16 of 49 victims, or 32%, had potentially survivable wounds.
These are very, very lethal events. But from a perspective of fire and EMS and police, public safety, even if there's one person in there that's survivable, we need to go to work. We need to go get them and save them.
No published study has ever considered circumstances similar to those in Uvalde, where small victims were shot with an assault-style rifle with only a few hospitals close by. Diaz says he believes the report will likely help answer important questions in his still grieving community. But he also fears that it could traumatize the families of the 21 victims all over again.
And if it says something more concrete, it's probably going to open up another wound.
And Dr. Escott says there is no timeline for when his study may be complete. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office in San Antonio, which is performing the autopsies, says it may be done with that work as early as next week. Dr. Escott says he does not plan to release victim-specific information to the public, but that he would give the findings to parents and families. Brian and Quita, if those are answers that they would want to have.
Wow. Well, Tony, this week we've heard the heartbreaking 911 calls from children who survived the shooting. And now we hear this. It's just hit after traumatizing hit for these families and for the Uvalde community.
It is, and the truth is we are continuing to learn more information and likely will for the next coming months as all of this begins to or continues to unravel in this public way. But this question, I think in particular, is so difficult to contemplate, yet it is a reality potentially of what happened that day. It is a question, as the Justice of the Peace said, that remains on the minds and in the hearts of the people of Uvalde.
Just heartbreaking to know that the families could even get more bad news after everything they've been through. All right. Thanks a lot, Tony. Tony Ploetsky, senior reporter here at the desk with us today.